Welcome, sir. Good afternoon.
আমার কথা শোনা যাচ্ছে? আমার কথা শোনা যাচ্ছে তো?
Hello, sir.
এই তো রাজীব। রাজীব, আমার কথা শুনতে পাচ্ছো? ও, এক মিনিট।
স্যার, হ্যাঁ শুনতে পাচ্ছি স্যার। এখানে স্যার একটু বৃষ্টি হচ্ছে খুব। হ্যালো।
এবার আমার কথা শোনা যাচ্ছে?
Yes, sir. You are audible to us.
ওকে, ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে। আচ্ছা, আমি এটাকে অফ করেই রাখছি।
Sir, we will start from 6 p.m. onwards.
হ্যাঁ, ঠিক আছে। আর তো 2 মিনিট বাকি আছে। ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে, নো প্রবলেম। তোমরা যেমন করছো করো, ঠিক আছে। আমি দুটোই অফ করে দিলাম।
Hello. Am I audible, sir?
হ্যাঁ, হ্যাঁ, তুমি অডিবল, মোস্ট সার্টেনলি। তা নাহলে আমি উত্তর দিলাম কি করে তোমার?
Thank you, sir.
ওকে, তুমি অডিবল।
Hello, sir.
হ্যাঁ, আমার কথা শোনা
স্যার,
যাচ্ছে?
এখানে খুব হ্যাঁ স্যার, ক্লিয়ার স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, এখানেও খুব বৃষ্টি হচ্ছে, ভীষণ। প্রদীপ, আমিও
হ্যাঁ
এসে
স্যার,
গেছি।
হ্যাঁ আমরা স্যার আর কিছুক্ষণের মধ্যেই শুরু করে দেব।
হ্যাঁ, আমিও এসে গেছি। হ্যাঁ, 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 দেখেছি। হ্যাঁ, এখানে বৃষ্টি হচ্ছে না সেরকম।
ও, এখানে তো তুমুল বৃষ্টি শুরু
না,
হলো।
না, বেহালাতে তেমন বৃষ্টি কিছু নেই। হচ্ছিল একটু আগে, এখন কিছু নেই। ও,
আর
এখানে
স্যার ইউটিউবে স্যার লাইভ হচ্ছে।
আচ্ছা, এখানে দেখছি there are participants who wouldn't follow Bengali. তামিলনাড়ুর একজনকে দেখতে পাচ্ছি। আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। সেই জন্যই বোধহয় তুমি ইংরেজিতে বলবে বলে ঠিক করেছো। হ্যাঁ, আচ্ছা, ঠিক আছে। Anyway, we can remain bilingual also. ঠিক আছে, আমি সেদিন সেন্টারেও তাই ছিলাম। ঠিক আছে।
হ্যালো স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, ইয়েস।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, লেট পিপল জয়েন স্যার। আমরা স্যার আর কিছুক্ষণের মধ্যে শুরু করে দিব স্যার। উইদিন
Okay,
ফিউ মিনিটস স্যার উই উইল স্টার্ট।
it is already 6:01. Huh? Okay, okay, as is convenient for you.
ইয়েস স্যার, ইয়েস স্যার, থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার।
Professor Satyajit Dasgupta has joined.
হ্যাঁ স্যার, ওয়েলকাম স্যার।
হ্যাঁ, ও আমাকে দেখেছে, ওর সাথে কথা হয়েছে আমার। আমি আগেই এসে গেছি।
Okay, okay.
I have already spoken to him. ঠিক আছে, আছি আমি।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, প্লিজ স্টে উইথ আস, উই উইল স্টার্ট উইদিন ফিউ মিনিটস।
ঠিক আছে, ঠিক আছে।
আর স্যার আমাদের এই ওয়েবিনারটি স্যার ইউটিউবে লাইভ হচ্ছে স্যার।
Acha, okay.
রাজীব,
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
আউটস্টেশন পার্টিসিপেন্টস কতজন তোমাদের? একজন দুজনকে আমি দেখতে পাচ্ছি। কতজন? হাউ মেনি অফ your participants would be outstation? কতজন? আমি 3-4 জনকে তো নামে চিনতে পারছি, আরো নিশ্চয়ই আরো আছে নিশ্চয়ই। ঠিক আছে।
জয়িতা, হ্যালো জয়িতা। জয়িতা, আর ইউ হেয়ার?
Yeah, yes, Dada.
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ, এখন শুরু করতে পারি, প্লিজ স্টার্ট।
Have a great evening to all. Before I started, I wanted to talking about few words about Karam Utsav, also known as Karam Puja. It is a significant harvest festival in tribal region of India, particularly in states like Jharkhand and Assam. Celebrate in the lunar month of August to September. The festival honors Karam Devta, the god of strength, youth, and vitality, and wishes to all of you a very Karam Puja. So now, good evening to all and a warm welcome. All respected dignitaries, academicians, scholars, friends, and participants attending today's special webinar titled Dominant Elements of the Hegemony in Indian Politics and Society. Insightful session. I am Joita Roy Borman and I will be your host for today's event. Now it's our pleasure to introduce our initiative, Mystic Force of Science and Society. It is a socio-educational initiative which posits that science, spirituality, and society are interconnected, influencing one another in subtle yet profound ways. That means energy and consciousness and fundamental to the universe shaping the evolution of human civilization. Mystic Force of Science and Society has been at the forefront of promoting interdisciplinary dialogue and exploration. Forum its journey on 26 September 2024 with over 19 plus lecture series, state and national level webinars, and some social welfare work such as cloth distribution, khata and pen distribution program, and so on. Successfully organized and has created a platform for experts from diverse fields to share their insights and perspectives on the intersection of science, spirituality, and society. It's a special lecture series and webinar have attracted global audience, providing a platform for individuals from diverse backgrounds to engage with cutting edge ideas and perspective. Now it's our distinct pleasure to introduce the keynote speakers for today's special. To offer more comprehensive introduction, I would like to invite our convener, Rajiv Lochan Bala, to take the floor. Over to you, Rajiv Da. Rajiv Da? Rajiv Da?
Hello. Joyita.
স্যার বলো
Okay.
তুমি
Thank you, Joyita. Sir, am I audible? Am I audible to you? Please response.
Yes, yes.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, Joyita, for giving me this opportunity to introduce the keynote speaker of today's webinar. Actually, sir need no introduction, but merely a formality. Professor Professor Pradip Basu is an Indian political scientist and an astute academician and veteran and profound writer. He retired as the Dean of Humanities and Social Sciences, former head and professor of political science at the Presidency University. He was a research scholar at the Center for Studies in Social Sciences, Calcutta, and a doctoral teacher fellow of the Indian Council of Social Sciences Research from 1988 to 1991. He earned his PhD under the supervision of Professor Partho Chatterjee on inner party ideological struggles leading to Naxalism. After then, he taught at the University of Kalyani and before moving on to teach at the Scottish Church College, later as a guest faculty in the postgraduate department of political science at the University of Calcutta. He was also a guest faculty in the postgraduate department of philosophy at the University of Calcutta. And he is the founder and former chief editor of the Journal of Humanities and Social Sciences, which is an annually published referred journal published by the Scottish Church College. Professor Basu was the founder convener of Samajo Chinta, an academic seminar society in Kolkata, which conducted monthly seminars in Bengali from 1991 to 2006. He specializes in the Naxalite movement and post-structuralism, actively involved in Naxalite politics during 1974 gradually became critical of Naxalism and Orthodox Marxism and became interested in Western Marxism of Antonio Gramsci, Louis Althusser, and the Frankfurt School. Over time, he further moved towards post-structuralism, especially the works of Michael Foucault and Jacques Derrida. His chief academic interest lies in working for a possible dialogue between Naxalism on the one hand and critical such as post-structuralism, post-colonialism, feminism, and Ambedkaranism. He has authored so many books like নকশালবাড়ি বক্ষণ কিছু পোস্ট মডার্ন ভাবনা টুয়ার্ডস নকশালবাড়ি উত্তর আধুনিক মার্ক্সবাদ পোস্ট মডার্নিজম মার্ক্সিজম পোস্ট কলোনিয়ালিজম উত্তর আধুনিক রাজনীতি etc. And he has also edited so many books like Discourses on Naxalite Movement, Avenue Champion to Modern Social Theorist, Colonial Modernity, Indian Perspective, Red on Silver, Naxalites in Cinema, Modern Social Thinkers, Mononymous Naxalbari, Political Sociology, Social Thinkers of Modern Times, Naxalite Politics, Post-Structuralism, and subaltern perspectives, theories, society, politics, theories, people politics, theories, processes politics, theories, reality, politics, theories, politics, gender and Naxalite movement, caste and Naxalite politics, Naxalbari Rajniti, etc. So there is so many books which have been written by Professor Basu. And today we are very much honored to have you with us, sir. Over to you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you, everybody. I am humbled by such a long introduction, which I never deserved. Actually, the introduction has been much bigger than what I have actually done in academics. So I apologize to everyone. And I thank everyone, all the respected audience, the organizer of this platform, Rajiv Lochan Bala, who contacted me. Actually, for the first time, I heard about this platform, and I was wondering, why is it called Mystic? It is an unusual kind of name. Anyway, I am very happy to be familiar with you. I particularly thank my friend and kind of my elder brother, Satyajit Dasgupta, Professor Dr. Satyajit Dasgupta, who we know each other from 1984, I think, at the center. He is also a profound scholar in history and now director in counseling department of University of Calcutta. I am very honored that he is attending the session. Well, I will speak on this topic, dominant elements of hegemony in India, limits of Orthodox Marxism. That means I am borrowing the concept of Gramsci, the ideological and cultural hegemony. I am trying to look at India in terms of hegemony in Indian culture and society. All the elements cannot be considered, certainly, but most dominant elements I have tried to enlist here. And with a cue to that, description of the dominant elements of hegemony in India, I will try to find out the deficiencies, the drawbacks, the limits of Orthodox Marxism in India. I am venturing into it with a trembling heart, with hesitations, questions of my own, lack of clarifications, but I hope that I will be able to learn much from this audience. It will be a kind of exchange of ideas through sharing of ideas. Rajiv, please display the PPT. I have prepared a
Yes, sir. I
PPT.
will, sir.
Yeah. Very briefly, I will touch upon Lenin and Gramsci in their conceptualization of the state, especially the bourgeois state. According to Lenin, or according to Orthodox Marxism, we know that state is an organ of class domination through coercion. It is an instrument of force. Everybody knows about it. That is the standard definition of the state in Orthodox Marxist theory. But Gramsci, who was born in 1891 and who passed away in 1937, who was one of the top leaders of the Communist Party of Italy, also a founder, and who was arrested, imprisoned in the jail of fascist dictator Mussolini. And
Sir, is it visible?
no, not yet. And then, do I have anything to do in order to help you? Yes, it is now visible.
Now, sir?
Yes, it is now visible.
Okay, sir.
The slide number 1, there are 5 slides. Gramsci has been researched widely in the recent period. Not very recent though. We remember Ashok Sen, Professor Ashok Sen of the Center for Studies in Social Sciences, then Ajit Roy, he had a small book on Gramsci. Then we have translations by Shomik Bandopadhyay and Shobhanlal Dattagupta. Now there is a lot of work on Gramsci. He had some new original ideas, very creative contributions to Marxism. That's why he is very, very remarkable thinker. According to Gramsci, Lenin's definition is not enough. I'm making it very brief and very simple, just bypassing all the complications here, because I have to concentrate on hegemony. Gramsci said that the bourgeois state is not only an organ of class domination or coercion or force. In fact, it is not simply a political society. It is also marked by another component that is called civil society. Gramsci added the concept of civil society to the already predominant concept of political society. What does it mean? Political society was conceptualized as the institutions of the state which are based on coercion or violence or force. For example, the prison, the police, the bureaucracy, the military, etc. But Gramsci added a new thing, a new concept of civil society, which adds a new dimension to the understanding of the state, in fact, bourgeois state. It means the various institutions which are not directly under the control of the state. They are kind of supposedly independent, autonomous, private organizations, voluntary organizations. And in fact, most of the people think that Rajiv, I cannot see the PPT slide.
Sir, now?
No, not yet.
রাজীব দেখো আমি চ্যাটে তোমাকে একটা কথা লিখেছি রিগার্ডিং দিস শেয়ারিং অফ দ্য পিপিটি তুমি দেখো একটু আমরা ওইভাবে করি ল্যাপটপ থেকে করলে ওইভাবে করতে হবে একটু দেখে নাও ডেস্কটপে সেভ করো ওপেন করে সেভ করে ওপেন করো ডেস্কটপ থেকে তারপরে ওখানে শেয়ার অপশনে যাও ওখানে উইন্ডো বা ট্যাব থেকে শেয়ার করো তাহলে ফুল স্ক্রিনে এসে যাবে
ঠিক ঠিক আমি স্যার ফ্রম মোবাইল থেকে করছি তো
মোবাইল থেকে করলেও তুমি ওই তো মোবাইলে ডেস্কটপে ওটাকে শেয়ার সেভ করো করে ওপেন করো তারপরে শেয়ার করো তাহলে ওই ওই অপশন গুলো দেবে মোবাইলে তো সেই ওটাও হবে তুমি দেখো কিন্তু ওটাকে ওপেন করে সেভ করতে হবে তারপরে সেখান থেকে শেয়ার করতে হবে
Well, yes, it came, yes, it comes and goes. Now it is visible. So the civil society is constituted by the private, apparently neutral, independent, and voluntary institutions, as if they are independent from the control of the state. And in this civil society, people exchange their views and discuss as if they are expressing their independent, autonomous, uninfluenced views, as if these views are not directed by the, not manipulated, not maneuvered by the bourgeois state. So there is a kind of strong conception about neutrality and independence. public opinion is very much predominant here, and from this public opinion comes the common sense. So in civil society, there is a kind of common sense which is shared by most of the people in the civil society, and this common sense is as if it is developing from the natural, spontaneous reaction of the people without being influenced by any government or state, as if this common sense is unbiased. It is deeply rooted in the minds of the people, and it is deeply entrenched in the experience, natural experience of the citizens. Common sense is very, very reliable, trustworthy. Common sense is coming close to the truth. That is the normal understanding of the people about common sense. Common sense pervades the civil society. But Gramsci contends that this common sense is not really impartial, unbiased, and neutral. It is not something natural or spontaneous. Common sense, acha, someone has raised hand, Dhruv Agarwal. Do you want to say something?
सर्टिफिकेट कब मिलेगा?
Certificate? Oh, Rajiv, please respond. Rajiv, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Dhruv
Yes, sir.
Agarwal
Hello.
has. Please respond to Dhruv.
Dhruvuji, within 30 days, we will send you the certificates. It is very annoying, you know. Just we started.
Okay, it's okay. So let me continue. That Gramsci's point is that common sense is mostly invisibly created and regulated by the bourgeois ruling bourgeois class. It is a kind of hegemony. It's a kind of, it's called hegemony, the ideological and cultural hegemony. So the point is that it is kind of invisible, mostly through these institutions like family, church or religious institutions, trade unions, cultural organizations, sports organizations, literary societies, seminar bodies, debating societies. All these are included in the civil society. And these institutions pretend to be unbiased, but actually they are created and regulated by the bourgeois hegemony. Hegemony means the ideological, cultural ideas, beliefs, opinions, exchange of ideas, views, values, preferences. These constitute the hegemony, which ultimately serve the bourgeois rule. And this hegemony controls our thought process, makes us feel that this rule is justified, legitimate. And since this rule is justified, so we voluntarily give consent. Is so educated, so advanced in science and technology. We know that the bourgeoisie has the quality of leadership for the whole society. The bourgeoisie represents the collective will or the popular will, the moral leadership, the moral ethical leadership of the whole society. So they have the right to rule, and we must give our consent, and thus legitimacy is constructed. And as Max Weber pointed out, that when power is accompanied by consent or legitimacy, it turns into authority. Authority is obeyed by people voluntarily. Now, this is Gramsci's idea. So, the main point is that the state rules not only by coercion but also by consent. We do not revolt against the state because the coercive apparatuses are there under the direct control of the state. But not only that, Gramsci pointed out, in addition to Lenin's view, that we also give our voluntary consent behind the rule. We think that this is a legitimate rule, justified rule, a legitimate rule. And Gramsci gives immense emphasis on this aspect. Now we come to the second slide. Rajiv, please. The letters are really very small here. I read out some dominant elements of hegemony in our culture. Certainly Gramsci did not discuss about this. His ideas and concept to the particular conditions of Indian society and Indian culture. Certainly not all elements have been incorporated here. That was not possible for me. Elements. One may certainly differ about whether they are really dominant or not, whether some other elements are dominant, but that can be certainly discussed. What about this hegemony? Before going to the elements, I should discuss essentializing the stereotypes. Yes, now it is full screen and I can see it. And please make it a little bigger. In fact, essentialization, stereotypes, these concepts are not coming from Gramsci. They are recently discussed by post-structuralist, most post-structuralist thinkers, post-structuralist and post-colonial thinkers, also some feminist thinkers. And post-structuralist, you can say also postmodern. Some people say that they are the same, and some people say that very strictly, technically speaking, postmodernism is different from post-structuralism to some extent. Anyway, I wanted to argue that in these dominant elements of hegemony in India, we often come across some stereotypes. For example, suppose Muslim. Muslim means a rather violent, dogmatic person with a beard and a cap, his cap, or something like that. Or a Punjabi Sikh with a turban, with beard, a tall and well-built structure of the body, etc. These are the stereotypes. Stereotypes are created by dominant ideas. I can say, borrowing from Gramsci, that hegemony creates stereotypes. And in its turn, stereotypes strengthen, reinforce hegemony. This is a two-way traffic, mutually strengthening, mutually reinforcing. But these stereotypes are certainly not true, because many Muslims are quite different, and many Punjabi Sikhs are different from this model. And stereotyping always essentialize that any Muslim has an essence. Any Sikh, Punjabi Sikh, has an essence, or any Hindu has an essence, any Christian has an essence. But essentializing a person through a universalistic criterion is certainly a kind of epistemological violence. Maybe there are certain general characteristics, but there are exceptions, and you cannot talk about the essence. There is no essence. I give an example coming into my mind, that you know this Laden's 9/11 in 2000. I forgot the year. In USA, that 9/11 the two towers were attacked. See, it was a passenger plane, but it behaved, it acted like a missile. So one can argue that there is no essence. A plane can turn into a missile. Anyway, hundreds of other examples can be given. And next point is that legitimizing the elite rule. What do these elements of hegemony do in the political system? I have already mentioned it. These elements legitimize the elite rule. We have already mentioned and discussed it. Now, what are these dominant elements of hegemony in India? I have enlisted here four major or dominant elements. Please show the slide number 2. Rajiv, I cannot see the slide. Okay, I continue. There are 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. One is about nature. 2 is about global capitalism. 3 is about community rights. 4 is about individual freedom. There are 4 dominant elements in Indian hegemony. First is nature, I will explain. Second is global corporate capitalism. Third is community rights. And fourth is individual freedom. The first one, you can see in the slide. Rajiv, we cannot see the slide. I cannot see. Although I am reading it out, but a slideshow could have helped a little more the audience. The first element is that about nature. Morals that justify devastation of nature. That means in Indian hegemony, in Indian culture, today, there are moral justification for heavy industrialization, the Western model of development, mastery over nature for human interest, even at the cost of nature. Nature may be destroyed, devastated through huge productivity by use of science and technology, economic growth and heavy industrialization. There is degradation of environmental degradation and ecological imbalance, greenhouse gas emission, air pollution, climate change, Anthropocene, deforestation, biodiversity, and violation of rights of plants and animals, and ignoring sustainable development. And this can be called a semi-colonial imitation of the West. So, hegemony hegemony, concept of hegemony focuses on the ideas and values which justify destruction of nature. The actual destruction is certainly happening, but hegemony is drawing our attention to the fact how certain moral ideas are legitimizing the damage of nature. How we are used to the acceptance of the damage of nature. How we think it is quite right. It is morally right. It is legitimate. It is justified. Otherwise, how we shall have development like the Western countries? So heavy industrialization is required. Dams. Medha Patkar was fighting against that. Sundarlal Bahuguna, Chipko movement. These are, we can say that the moral legitimization is very strong in Indian culture. That is hegemony. We think what we think. We think that it is right. The second element is global capital. It is in the second slide. Please go back to the second slide. Yes. See, the second element of hegemony. There are 4 elements, I said. First element is about nature, devastation of nature, and second element is global corporate capital. In our hegemony today, there is a rationalization of neoliberal values in defense of class exploitation. Many people think so. There is a very dominant idea that neoliberalism is the way out towards development. And therefore, global corporate capital is welcome. It creates rat race among individuals, profit motive, commodity fetishism, consumerism, alienation, which was explained by Karl Marx in Economic and Philosophical Manuscripts in 1844. Also reification, which was explained by Georgi Lukács, the Hungarian Marxist thinker, philosopher. Reification. I should have explained all these concepts, but there will be no time, I think. We can discuss in a separate occasion, on a separate occasion. Then role of the state in maximizing market economy. This is neoliberal feature. Role of the state. There is a growing role of the state itself in maximizing market economy. Then bourgeois values are predominant, which glorify Western type development through market, economic exploitation of the workers and peasants. So people think that opposition to class struggle is legitimate. Thus, there is a moral ratification of the 3 Farmers' Acts. Certainly, there was a long movement of the farmers in Haryana, Punjab, Delhi, Singhu border, Western UP, etc. So the Farmers' Acts were ultimately withdrawn by the central government. But recently, they complained that these agreements have been violated. So they are now again in the streets. Also, there are 4 labor codes which increases the labor time of the workers and decreases their wages. Also, there are migrant laborers. We know they are terrific condition after the corona. we know about informal and unorganized sectors, contractual workers, sex workers, call centers, IT sectors, gig workers like the delivery boys and girls, women, and child labor. So, my point is that neoliberal exploitation of global corporate capital is certainly going on. But the concept of hegemony is trying to concentrate on the ideas, moral ideas, which rationalize neoliberal values and class exploitation. Most people say that, exploitation, there will be exploitation. The migrant workers, those who speak Bangla, they have been harassed. They are being harassed in many other provinces. And many people say that these people are actually Rohingya or Bangladeshi Muslims, illegal migrants, and these people are justifiably subjected to class exploitation. It is a universal feature throughout the world, and so class exploitation cannot be done away with. So, economic exploitation by global corporate capital has earned a high degree of consent, legitimacy, justification, rationalization in our minds. Now we come to the third one. Please, slide change, number 3. Third dominant element of our hegemony is ethical sanctions for the suppression of community rights. Community rights. That means in our culture, in our hegemony, today, there is a dominant element justifying the suppression of community rights. Why should the communities be given rights? There is a bourgeois liberal argument that the more capitalism develops, the more urbanization and industrialization take place, the more community rights will disappear. Community rights are the signs of feudalism or semi-feudalism, and they should go away with the rise of capitalism. These arguments are there, even some arguments are provided by the Marxists. On the basis of these arguments, we see that there is denial of community rights, there is suppression of pluralism, there is discouragement towards tolerance, difference, and there is a damage to Indian federalism. We know there are constitutional amendments, there are laws, ordinances, and the role of governors and the central government always intruding or intervening in the federal system. There may be certain deficiencies in our federal system. There have been. But now it is being an extreme form. It is taking an extreme form. Unfortunately, the Indian left, they also indiscriminately repudiated community rights in the name of rejecting identity politics. But this indiscriminately condemnation of identity politics must be given a rethinking. And you see, in this third element, I have detected 4 kinds of suppression of community rights. Again, I point out that community rights are being violated in reality but I am trying to focus on the hegemony. That is the ideas in our minds, in our culture, the moral values, the ideals, the values, the preferences, which give an ethical sanction for the suppression of community rights. Yes, community rights should be violated. Community rights should be discouraged. That is the argument. That is the moral argument of the people. And there are 4 types of violation of community rights. One is, I have pointed them as gender, A, B, C, D. Please don't confuse. Under the third dominant element of hegemony in India, there are 4 types. A, B, C, D. 4 types. A, B, C, D. A, gender. B, Adivasi. C, caste. And D, minorities. A, B, C, D. A, gender. Patriarchal attitudes are very strong in our culture, which justify gender discrimination against women and LGBTQIA+. Feminism and women's movement discouraged, sarcastically treated, and women are seen as sex objects, commodities. Women and incomplete humans. One central minister said that So this kind of inhuman torture on the basis of caste is made justified in our hegemony. Again, I point out that caste system is there. But here I am trying to point out, borrowing from Gramsci, that our ideological cultural hegemony justifies it. Also, we can mention ethnic bias, racism. You know, Northeastern people are often humiliated. Very recently in Delhi, in Bangalore, it happened because of the Mongoloid features, sometimes called Chinky or Chinese, etc. And sometimes South Indian people, one central minister said that why the South Indian people are angry, dissatisfied. Why? After all, we have allowed these dark-skinned people in India to stay. How dare he? Just think of it. The humiliation due to darker skin. And also we know in our marriage market, advertisements in newspapers, how dusky women are always humiliated. So anyway, caste, ethnicity, race, all these are made justified by our hegemony. And next is D. Next slide, please. Number 4. D. A, B, C, D all belong to dominant element number 3. Please don't confuse. D, minorities. There are prejudices against minority rights expected of a democracy. In a democracy, it is expected that minority will be respected. But religious minorities such as Muslims and Christians and Sikhs, there is atrocities upon them. Sometimes secular values are compromised. And in the past, we have seen efforts, mullahs, Maulvis, appeasement of Sikh religious leaders, Khalistani leaders, etc. And now we find that appeasement of Hindu majority religious leaders. And there is a widespread hate politics, polarization between Hindus and Muslims mainly, and majoritarianism is prevalent. So in Indian hegemony, a dominant dominant element, one idea is suppression of minorities. And many people now argue that why the minorities will be suppressed, who are the minorities, who decided it. The most basic things of secularism and democracy are being challenged. And that is being justified, supported, legitimized by the civil society, hegemony in civil society. Anyway, one thing must be noted, that religious minority right is not a problem only for India. It is a problem also in Bangladesh. The Hindu, Christian minorities are being subjected to horrible oppression by Muslim majoritarianism. And in Pakistan also same, Sikh, Hindu, Christians are oppressed. In Sri Lanka, we know Buddhist fundamentalists are oppressing non-Buddhist Tamil people. In Afghanistan also, Muslim fundamentalists, they are oppressing other religious people. And Myanmar, we know the Rohingya Muslims have been treated like animals brutally. Well, then we come to linguistic minority rights. There are several languages, we know thousands of languages, perhaps 1053 languages which are major. And there are several regional languages marginalized languages, dialects. In spite of this plurality, the people are trying to establish it, their separation as vision of Hindi in South India, and very recently in Bengal also we know Porijayi Shramik, migrant workers, they are inhumanly treated in other provinces because they cannot speak Hindi, they speak Bangla, and they are hastily they are described as Bangladeshi illegal migrants or Rohingya Muslims. So this kind of suppression is being justified. That is the point of hegemony. The oppression is going on, but this oppression is being justified by the thoughts of the citizens. A large number of citizens in the civil society, they justify it. Also, national minorities are there, and cultural suppression, damage to federalism. Also, political minorities are there, suppression. All these are there. So A, B, C, D, these four constitute the third dominant element. We have discussed the dominant elements. The first dominant element was about nature, destruction of nature. Second dominant element was the global capital, class exploitation. Third dominant element is suppression of community rights. And in community rights, there are four types of communities: A, B, C, D. And then the fourth dominant element, that is arguments invoking righteousness for abrogation of individual rights. Individual rights are undermined, liberty, dignity of the individual, so freedom of expression, criticism, debate, criticism of government, to the attempts to deepen democracy, all these are suppressed. Individual rights. Marxists did not give any emphasis to this point, but I would like to argue that this point cannot be ignored, because this ignoring can lead us to dictatorship or fascism. So individual rights must be respected, must be honored, but our hegemony gives arguments that it is right to violate individual rights. Why the individual will enjoy so much freedom? And in this connection, you may remember the very recent incident that Javed Akhtar has been stopped from giving a lecture, and all because he is an atheist. Also, we have seen that Taslima Nasrin, she was thrown out of West Bengal. In Bangladesh, in Pakistan, there are hundreds of such instances. We cannot deny that. In France also, we know the journal which was threatened. The editors were threatened. Salman Rushdie, he lost one eye because of the attack of the Muslim fundamentalists. So anyway, if we concentrate on Indian hegemony, we must be aware about this, that our ideas are going to ultimately justify. Last slide, 5, please switch to 5. What about Marxism? Orthodox Marxism in India, it did not give emphasis on existing hegemony, which legitimized all kinds of injustice. Gramsci insisted that there is the need for progressive counter-hegemony through resistance, through class struggle. Actually, this concept of resistance I'm taking from Michel Foucault, the post-structuralist French thinker. You can say class struggle is a kind of resistance, the word resistance. Orthodox Marxism gave excessive focus on class entities. Other entities are neglected. Class exploitation. Other kinds of oppression are ignored. It defined politics as class struggle. But politics pervades all other kinds of struggle also. That is my argument. And class struggle is derived from economy. But many other kinds of oppression are not necessarily derived from economy, but from many other sources. There may be caste oppression, there may be gender oppression, there may be family oppression, patriarchal oppression, or individual psychological oppression. All kinds of oppressions are there. Victims of nature devastation. Orthodox Marxism said that state is an organ of class domination. But why? Apart from class, there are also many other kinds of identities. And are there no other kinds of oppression apart from class domination? Can one challenge this view? Especially in India, along with class exploitation, there are different kinds of oppression. And the Orthodox Marxism in India have not paid adequate attention to this. Other kinds of oppression like victims of natural devastation or gender oppression, caste oppression, Adivasi oppression, also individual oppression, loss of democracy, etc. I will bring here two concepts very briefly: suffering and injustice. Lenin thought, Orthodox Marxism thought that according to Orthodox, substantively coming from economic class exploitation. But I would argue that in addition to suffering, true that human beings are animals. They have 5 senses and they suffer. But in addition to that, the human beings have a sense of moral justice. Moral justice. That means suffering alone is not enough for resistance. A lot of people suffer, but they do not go for resistance because there is fear of oppression, fear of torture, state violence. But many sufferings also many sufferings are accepted as fate, destiny, provision of God, divine providence. अरे अल्लाह ऐसी तो बनाया है ना, भगवान तो एरकमই করে দিয়েছেন। In last birth, I did some sin. I committed some sin. That is why God is punishing me in this birth. That is a typical Hindu argument, or maybe in other religions also, communities also. The point is that injustice, the sense of injustice can only arouse revolt. When there is suffering, suffering alone is not enough. Suffering must be accompanied by a sense of moral injustice. If people think that this suffering is caused by moral injustice, then they go ahead, go forward to offer resistance. That is my argument. And in this way, suffering has been focused by Orthodox Marxism. But in Gramsci, I will argue that along with suffering, moral injustice has been given emphasis by Gramsci through his concept of hegemony. That is my argument. Hegemony talks about our mental thought process, where a moral thought process, question of legitimacy, just and unjust, right and wrong are important. Otherwise, you see, why does Marxism at all oppose class exploitation? If there is no moral question involved, you can say that, well, class exploitation is going on and that is good, that is right. Those who are inferior, they should be subjected to class exploitation. That is a typical liberal bourgeois argument. A sense of morally wrong that wakes up a sense of revolt. Marx, Engels, Lenin, they were all from petty bourgeois, middle class economic class. But they took up, they declassed themselves. They became communists because of the moral awakening, moral sense that this capitalist system is illegitimate, wrong, unjust. So you see, injustice includes two things. One, class-based economic exploitation, and two, all forms of non-economic oppression. These two should be combined together. It is true that they generally overlap in real life, but conceptually they are distinguishable. That is the point. And last point is that, so we can think of a more inclusive Marxism instead of an Orthodox Marxism. We can say that a more inclusive Marxism will struggle against two things. One is economic exploitation, or that is class struggle, and second is all forms of non-economic oppression. So there are total 4 aspects of injustice. One is destruction of nature. Go back to my first discussion. 4 dominant elements of injustice and 4 dominant elements of hegemony in India. 1, destruction of nature. 2nd, global corporate capital, neoliberalism, and class exploitation. 3rd element, oppressed communities. 4th element, suppressed individuals. And in the 3rd element, communities, there are A, B, C, D, gender, caste, Adivasi, minorities. So all injustice are not necessarily derived from and determined by economic class factor. So class struggle should be blended with other forms of resistance. And we can borrow here from Michel Foucault that all kinds of micro-resistance should be linked with class struggle. But one thing I don't agree with Foucault, Foucault does not believe in emancipation of oppressed human being through a large macro revolutionary struggle. He does not believe in that. he is very pessimistic about it. But we can say, along with Gramsci, we can say pessimism of the intellect, but optimism of the sentiment, passion, emotion, belief. That means intellectually you may not see any hope, but through your passion you can certainly hope for a stronger movement. So in this respect, I will discard Foucault's of pessimism. But anyway, micro-resistance should be linked with class struggle, and identity politics should be linked with class struggle. That is my argument. And you see, injustice are not necessarily derived from and determined by economic class factors. But at the end, I must conclude that, however, we must consider that global corporate capitalism today is all pervasive, is playing a crucial role in today's world of injustice and oppression. So this global corporate capitalism, along with its neoliberal values, should be generally the main target, because it is reinforcing, providing, supplying nutrition to all other kinds of oppression. So global corporate capitalism is to be given an overall priority. Ultimately, any kind of people's resistance will ultimately challenge the state power, and state power is backed by global corporate capitalism. So this basic doctrine of Karl Marx must be accepted with due respect. Global corporate capitalism is far stronger than Indian caste system because it is localized. It is true that gender discrimination is also all pervasive, but gender discrimination is certainly reinforced by global corporate capitalism, by the power of global corporate capitalism through the nation state and power network and hegemony. So, but at any particular point of time, whether class struggle or gender struggle or caste resistance or Adivasi struggle will play the central role at a particular context, that question will depend on the particular situation and time and configuration, the then prevailing configuration of forces. Thank you very much. I have finished.
Thank you, sir. For this mesmerized speech, we have extended our heartfelt thanks and acknowledgement for giving us your auspicious time. We now have a brief question and answer session. If anyone has any queries, please feel free to unmute the mic and ask the question, or you can type your question into the message box. We will make sure to address them.
Thank you, sir. It was a very illuminating speech, sir, and we are enriched by your enlightening speech. And if anyone has any questions or queries, please feel free to unmute yourself, and you can post your questions or queries in our FB Live, YouTube live stream, or in this message box also. Professor
Can
Dasgupta
I,
sir.
yes, yes. Can I just set the ball
Yes, sir.
rolling?
Please.
Right. I would just like to set the ball rolling, and I'm sure others will have questions and comments to make in abundance. Um, eh, First of all, thank you so much, Pradip, for such a brilliant presentation and long and brilliant presentation. I was listening to it with rapt attention. Um, this is not really a question, it's more of a comment, and the idea is to make you talk a little more about this very interesting concept of Gramscian concept of hegemony. Um, I most certainly agree to almost all that you have said regarding the concept and its application, etc. So there is no dispute there at all. But coming to the specifics of our legislative and parliamentary politics, especially the way this politics, legislative and parliamentary politics, is unfolding in front of us in the last 10 years, 10, 15 years, uh, we've been witnessing that uh, what we call political arithmetic of the legislative and parliamentary politics is gaining ground, and um, uh, it's become absolutely obvious that governments can be toppled or destabilized, or in fact different permutations and combinations of the ruling forces can be achieved by just buying or selling MLAs and MPs. And this act of horse trading would relate categorically not to any ideology really, because there is cross currents of all kinds of ideological machinations, etc. So it would relate far less to ideology, but a lot more to what we call self-seeking. Right? So material interests become very crucial by offering money, more specifically, or other material entitlements, etc. You can effect switchovers. You can, and this rampant floor crossing again relates much more to self-seeking than ideology. So, would you say that the need to sort of hegemonize in ideological terms is becoming less important, but and there is this decline of ideology in the realm of our parliamentary and legislative politics, and there is rise of what we call political self-seeking. So, by that token, uh, we can argue that it is material interest. So again, it could relate to Marx's ideas of base superstructure and materialities of life, etc. So basic, but minus the ideology part of it. So you have this floor crossing, you have this all kinds of political uh, arithmetic changing activities. So how does one look at it? Can we say that the ruling class or the ruling classes or the ruling combines need uh, don't really need to hegemonize in ideological terms to a large extent, but at the end of the day, much of their concern would focus on self-seeking and handling problems of self-seeking. This is just a teaser. I'm just putting it for discussion that whether there is this decline of ideology and rise of what we call political self-seeking, wherein most obviously and quite expectedly the entire point about remaining mindful of achieving hegemony through cultural or through any other means becomes less important. How would you look at the situation?
Thank you very much for your very insightful analysis. You have provided excellent food for thought. That is true. At this moment, I can just point out that being self-seeking, according to Gramsci, is a matter of ideology. So you cannot really rule out ideology. One ideology is selfless, sacrificing, the ideology of Bhagat Singh, Subhash Chandra Bose, or Surjo Sen, Madanlal Dhingra, etc., or Kalpana Bina,
Kalpana Joshi,
Bina, Jhansi Lokhi Bai, INA. This is a kind of ideology, self-sacrifice for the community, for the country, or for the class. And the communists are very much glorifying this communist ideology. And on the contrary, I would say, just on the opposite pole, there is the liberal bourgeois or say utilitarian bhogbadi, kind of hedonistic ideology that makes you, if you believe in that ideology, you become more and more selfish, more and more self-seeking, which you have very correctly pointed out that the first kind of ideology is very much diminishing, falling down, declining, and the second kind, the self-seeking ideology, is becoming more and more powerful day by day. And it will be much more clear, I think, for me at least, that Foucault's discourse, but this self-sacrificing discourse may be predominant in case of Swadeshi revolutionaries against British rule. And the self-seeking discourse has become very prominent now. So during British rule, if one said that he is doing politics, she is doing politics, then people had some respect. And say Deshbandhu, Chittaranjan Das, people like them. And if today somebody says that his father is a minister or he is a political leader, people generally believe in the ideology that it is normal that he will take bribes, cut money, for this chakri niyog, employment scandals of ministers. Not only in West Bengal. In West Bengal, it is very much visible, and throughout India, it is going on. Or the bribe or corruption at Arjikor, doctor who has been raped and killed. All these things, it's a kind of ultimately discourse. So, which discourse, or in Gramscian term, which ideology you should give privilege to? That means what Professor Satyajit Dasgupta very correctly pointed out. If I want to mix it with my argument, then I would say that the ideology of self-seeking that is now hegemonizing over the culture of India. dominant element. And as Gramsci suggested, that this dominant ideology should be fought against, and a counter hegemony, a selfless, as Professor Dasgupta pointed out, a kind of selfless, sacrificing, altruistic hegemony should be built up gradually.
That's right. If I can just extend the argument a little, this ideology of self-seeking, as you quite rightly said, could also relate to the consumerism of the global, the rise of the global corporate capitalism. Right?
Very good. Very good.
Consumerism of the global corporate capitalism is sort of very integrally connected with this self-seeking. Big malls coming, and youngsters doing this, that. So it is, in a way, it gives a handling to the corporate global capitalism, the consumerism that is justified and glorified by the development of corporate global capitalism. So this self-seeking would relate very closely to these developments also.
Thank you. It has been really excellent that you have pointed our attention to this link, global consumerism and this kind of self-seeking politics. Excellent. Thank you very much for drawing our attention to this aspect. Any other question? Rajiv, any other question?
Sir, namaskar. I am Deepak Kumar Singh from Ananda Chandra Training College, Jalpaiguri. And
Yes.
I'm feeling so happy to be an integral part of this program, sir. And the way you explained the difficult concept in a very simple way, it's really impressive and very inspiring for us.
Thank you.
And sir, the way you explained that the influence of the elite class on the common sense, it's really it's a thought-provoking for me. And sir, you have explained, you have given examples from in a very unbiased manner. So this is also very, I'm feeling so happy. And sir, I have a simple question. Communism is so impressive, but still it is failure in most of the states. So what's your opinion regarding this, sir? Thank you so much, sir.
Well, thank you very much for your kind words. Regarding communism, it is a very serious and grave, very important question you have raised. Lot of distinguished scholars are doing research, writing, deliberating on this question. I am very eagerly, it is my question also, I am reading very carefully. I am going through these works very, very intensively. For me, I would say that let us think in this way. Let us not think in this way that human civilization is going ahead, and at a certain point there has been a revolutionary change in our intellectual practice, and suddenly Marxism or communism has turned up. And why did this communism fail? We should not put this question in this way. Better I would say, I may be wrong, certainly. Better I would say that actually I myself was involved in communist practice. Now I am 69 years old, and 50 years ago, when I was a student, I was involved in Naxalite politics. But then after 7 years, I gave up. But I have learned a lot from Marx, Althusser, Gramsci, etc. what I feel I will suggest that we should think in this way. Human civilization is slowly, gradually moving forward, sometimes backward, sometimes in a zigzag way. Sometimes there are failures. We know during the Renaissance, 14th, 15th centuries Europe, we know Giordano Bruno, or what is the name of that scientist? Burnt alive, given poison. We know that in ancient Greece, Socrates was given poison. This goes on. Human beings struggle intellectually and in reality as well. This long struggle is going on for betterment, going backwards, sometimes forward, sometimes backward, in a very complex way. Hegel will say that it is moving forward in a unilinear direction towards progress and emancipation. But Michel Foucault, postmodernist, post-structuralist thinker, will say that no, there is no unilinear direction. It is moving in a zigzag way, sometimes forward, sometimes backward. There are successes or failures, and there is doubt about the criterion on the basis of which success or failure will be judged. There is also fights and struggles between ideologies, between discourses. Gramsci believes that yes, gradually we are moving forward, and in this long journey, long intellectual and historical journey, once struggle for socialism appeared. In Europe, utopian socialism, Saint-Simon, Fourier, Cabet, Sismondi. Before Marx, struggle for socialism was already on. Thomas More, long back in 1400 something, 1415 maybe. So this is going on. And there are failures. In India, in Asia, Africa also, there have been long struggles, resistances. We know about Chuar uprising, Coal rebellion, Veal rebellion, 1857 revolt, Mopla rebellion, series of rebellions, struggle, Santal rebellion, Sidhu, Kanu, Birsa Munda, and that lady leader. Yes. I just forgot the name. Sidhu, Kanu, Birsa, Maji, some Maji. Anyway.
Jitan Ram Manjhi.
Yes.
Jitan Ram
Maybe,
Manjhi.
I cannot remember exactly. Anyway, so you see, the Jhansi Queen, Lakshmi Bai. Also, I cannot name here so many local people in Assam, in Tamil Nadu, in the great Tipu Sultan, in Karnataka, Orissa, Gujarat, Rajasthan, Maharashtra, Punjab. Actually, in India also, series of movements and technological advancements, scientific advancements, advancements of knowledge, and class struggle, and identity politics and struggle, resistance. This is going on. Once a journalist asked Karl Marx, what is? And he writes, a grim voice replied, struggle. That is the greatest truth of life, I think. So you see, communism experiment has failed in Soviet Union. And in East European, there are 8 states in East Europe. Maybe there is a crisis of socialism in today's China. And pre-market capitalism and foreign investment is rampant. Going on. In Sanskrit, we know Charaibati. Cholche, life is going. If you look at this in this way, that communism came, experiments are going on, failing. Again, people are trying to detect their drawbacks, failures. At least communist experiment enriched our thought and experience. And one should not be surprised, shocked, because Mao Zedong in China during Cultural Revolution, I remember in a long essay, he wrote that in Soviet Union, experiment for socialism has failed. But class struggle does not depend on Marxism. Class struggle goes on. And in China, it may take 400 years, 300 years. Socialism may win a victory, and after 50 years, capitalism may be restored. This will go on. And Mao further said, that bourgeoisie won victory from the hands of feudalism. Capitalism won victory from feudalism. But it was not a matter of 10 years or 20 years. 400, 500 years of struggle. Technological struggle, cultural, ideological struggle, political struggle, economic struggle. Different classes of people are involved in different ways. Some are against, some are in favor. But then, ultimately, capitalism has won over victory. Maybe the experiments of socialism are going on. Or what Professor Satyajit Dasgupta pointed out, philosophically, if we look at political philosophy, we can say that the philosophy of self-seeking and the philosophy of collective well-being, they are engaged in a fierce battle. And we really don't know. Of course, I am not a determinist. I am not. I don't think Marx predicted that it will definitely happen. Marx was a social scientist and he explored the tendencies. But tendencies are not inevitable. That is my point. And that was the wrong thing which was understood by Orthodox Marxism. Say Plekhanov, Kautsky, Stalin. They thought that Marx believed that capitalism will definitely collapse because of historical economic laws and socialism is inevitable. But my reading I have read Gramsci, Karl Korsch. I have read Frederick Jameson, Laclau and Mouffe, Richard Wolff, Stephen Kallenberg, the Indian philosopher Ajit Chaudhuri. I also name Professor Partho Chatterjee. What I learned from them, also Professor Dipesh Chakraborty, Professor Gayatri Chakraborty Spivak, Professor Ashish Nandi, etc. A lot of people are concerned and they are thinking, they are specialists about this. That what my realization is that Marx is talking about a tendency, not a law, not a scientific law. In chemistry, we know the water has the formula H2O, 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom constitute one molecule of water, H2O. And H2O2, hydrogen peroxide, 2 atoms of hydrogen and 2 atoms of oxygen. That is a law. If H2O is added another O, it becomes no water. It becomes hydrogen peroxide. That there is no exception. That is a scientific law. Or oxygen, O2. You add another oxygen atom, it becomes O3. That is ozone. Similarly, an egg has an internal inherent contradiction, a tendency to become a chicken. It is a tendency, but not a law. Because all eggs are not going to become a chicken inevitably. You can roast, you can fry, you can eat one egg. You can throw the egg on the face of a corrupt politician, a rotten egg. There are many future possibilities. And one egg you can put in the incubator in a poultry farm, or you can allow the chicken, the mother hen, to give warm temperature for 21 days, and it will become a chicken. So there are many possibilities in tendencies. If tendencies are there of socialism in capitalism, then if you give proper temperature, proper condition, if you do not make mistakes, like the communist parties in India, they did many right achievements, but they also made many errors. So if you can correctly handle the condition, if you can provide the subjective condition when there is objective condition already, then these two will dialectically match and come to fruition, come to a successful outcome. So I would say that socialism is not a law. Fall of capitalism and birth of socialism is not a law. It is to be achieved by active intervention, active and correct intervention by human consciousness. Only then, suppose in India there is a socialist revolution successful, but again there will be capitalist restoration. Who can say? The leaders of the Communist Party, in Soviet Union, the leaders of the Communist Party gradually surrendered to the new forces of capitalism. Charles Bettelheim has written a lot about this, and also there are many others. In China also, there has been a grand success of socialism, but now there are nightclubs, now there are prostitutes, sex workers, and now women are sometimes treated as sex objects, and addiction, drugs is rampant, a profit motive. So this is a struggle. Just think in this way. There is no ultimate destination reached. Rabindranath Tagore, one in Bangla, he is called Rabindranath Thakur. He said, "পথের প্রান্তে আমার তীর্থ নয়, পথের দুধারে আছে মোর দেবালয়।" মানে পথের প্রান্তে, রাস্তা কি, मेरा हिंदी, my Hindi is very very poor, I apologize. पथ की अंतिम में मेरा मंजिल नहीं, मेरा मंजिल, मेरा टेम्पल, मंदिर और मस्जिद और चर्च है रास्ता का साइड में, दुधार में। माने my ultimate destination is not there at the end of the road, but on the both sides of the road. So the journey is true, only true. There is no destination. So the tendency is there, and the struggle will go on, and failures will come. But some people will believe we shall overcome someday. I don't know whether I have been able to answer an immediate answer to you.
Thank you so much for your overwhelming response, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Sir, we have more 3 questions. Yes, Aparna ma'am.
Yes, sir. Sir, it was a wonderful lecture. I have learned a lot and great learning experience it was. Sir, can you remember me? I am your student of Tripura. I am Aparna De. You must be forgotten me, but I was the...
in Scottish Church College.
No, sir. I am from Agartala, Tripura, sir.
But in Calcutta University, MA class.
No, not that Calcutta University, but Tripura University first batch.
No, but how do you become my student? Where?
In Tripura, sir, you came for 2-3 years as our teacher in the master degree, means MA class.
Maybe you are mistaken. I have never been to Tripura. I am very unfortunate.
Sir, the name is same.
Okay.
But it was a great lecture, sir. I have learned a lot. I pay the pranam, sir, from my side.
Thank you very much. You are a teacher there?
Yes, sir. I'm an associate professor now in a government degree college.
You know this man who died recently from political science? He was the vice chancellor.
Oh, yes, sir.
Gautam.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Gautam Basu.
Yes, sir.
You are in which subject?
In political science, sir.
Oh, I see. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you, Aparna ma'am. Or sir, we have so can I speak to you, sir?
We could not hear you. You have 3 more questions, right?
We have one, and in this message box, Vidyaranjan has asked one question.
Okay, I am going into the message box. Poonam Mehta, Poonam Mehra, Poonam spelling P-U-N-M, Poonam. Anyway, I know one Poonam, she is P-U-N-A-M. Anyway, acha. Poonam in Hindi, it means perhaps Purnima, a full moon. Anyway, Dhruv Agarwal, क्लास खूब कब खत्म होगी? क्लास तो अभी
Sir,
खत्म होने वाला है ना, होने वाली
hello,
है.
sir.
अच्छा,
Hello,
सैयद
sir.
तनाज, हाँ, सैयद तन्नाज
আমি আপনার
सहनाज, हाँ बोलो. Dr. Poonam
Sir,
Mehra
Vidyanjan
from,
has asked one question.
I cannot see the question in the board.
Sir, how do different Sir, the question is, sir, আমি আপনাকে বলছি, স্যার।
আচ্ছা, বলো. In English.
Sir, Vidyaranjan, হ্যাঁ স্যার, in English. Vidyaranjan has asked, how do different classes and groups resist or challenge hegemony in India?
How do different groups in India face or resist? What you said?
Resist or challenge hegemony in India.
Okay. Very interesting question. Actually, Gramsci will say that you have to build up ideological and cultural counter hegemony. Does it mean that you stop your class struggle and go only for leaflet, articles, lectures, street corners, walling, postering, only propaganda work? Certainly not. Gramsci was a very respected communist leader of the Communist Party of Italy, PCI, and he was an organizer of several movements. We know in 1920s, 19 about the council movement. There are many other organizational and work, agitational work and movements and party work. In addition to actual movements, he drew our attention to the task of building counter hegemony. That was Gramsci's position. Both will simultaneously go on. One thing Gramsci pointed out, that if you do not build up adequately a progressive socialist counter hegemony, if you don't do it, then your direct onslaught, direct attack on the state, bourgeois state, may not be successful. Actually, both should be conducted simultaneously. That is how I understood Gramsci. He never advocated the path of only propaganda. He wanted to add the dimension of counter hegemony into the ongoing process of class struggle. I think that is the correct reading of Gramsci. Well, in India, Gramsci did not discuss about Indian counter hegemony or resistance. We can say that our class struggle is going on, and what I argued, that it is not a matter of only class struggle. There are other kinds of injustice, so other kinds of struggle also should be there. Not only class struggle against economic class exploitation and global capital, but also there should be resistance against caste system, resistance against patriarchy and gender discrimination, struggle against Adivasi oppression, struggle against destruction of nature, etc., etc. Minority oppression, etc., etc. All kinds of struggles should be connected together, and only a revolutionary communist party can do it. That may be my bias, but I am ready to open up. Maybe there are other kinds of organizations, other kinds of political parties, but I don't think a bourgeois party can do this, because that will put the bourgeoisie in danger. Only Communist Party will be interested in it, because Communist Party will benefit to serve their goal of socialism. If they combine class struggle with gender struggle, caste resistance, Adivasi uprising, and environmental activists, etc., minority activists, if all this can be connected together by a communist party, that will be a great achievement. That will be our task number one. And simultaneously, the task, what Gramsci suggested, that build up counter hegemony. Go to the people, talk to the people, argue with them, try to convince them that male are not really superior to female or LGBTQIA+. Go to the people and tell them that Brahminical oppression of Shudro and Dalit is inhuman. It is morally wrong. Go and tell to the elite people that Adivasis are our great asset. We should be proud of Adivasi culture, Adivasi values. If you have seen Agontuk cinema of Satyajit Ray, you must have noticed how through Utpal Datto, Ray was arguing that forest tribals have excellent medical knowledge about the herbal medicinal plants and their use in the treatment of difficult diseases. And minorities should be protected. Minority rights should be protected in India, in Bangladesh, in Pakistan, in Sri Lanka, everywhere in the world, in USA. Trump has become an enemy against the minorities in USA. He is punishing the illegal migrants. But strange, he himself is a migrant. He himself is a migrant. The original people of America are the Red Indians, not these white people coming from Britain or Germany or Europe, Japan, India, China. No. They are not the original people. How will you judge who is an immigrant? I have been reading that human beings, modern human beings, have started to appear from Africa. The Homo sapiens. So everywhere they are migrants. How far will you look back? How far? Stop doing this. Concentrate on the poverty, unemployment, inflation, torture of women and LGBTQIA plus and Adivasi and minorities. Concentrate on these burning problems of contemporary society and try to resolve them. That is my understanding, that people have to do two things in India, and definitely they are already involved in it. They are not waiting for my advice or Gramsci's advice. We should not think that people are stupid. Rather, we are stupid and we have to learn from the people. We have to learn from the people's life and their moral values. Don't think peasants are stupid. They grow up our crops. Can I grow up? No, I am stupid. The point is that people must do two things. One is connect class struggle with all other kinds of struggle. As a whole, we should fight against injustice, any kind of injustice, anywhere, any kind. That is the first thing. That is inclusive Marxism. Expand the span of Marxism. Extend it. Don't be narrow. Don't be confined to only class struggle or economic exploitation. We are fortunate that we are Indians. We have almost all kinds of oppressions and injustice, forms of injustice here in India. It will be a good practicing ground. And second task is that we must build up huge argumentative tradition. Amartya Sen wrote The Argumentative Indian. Well, take the tradition of arguments, fight against those who suppress minorities, who suppress Adivasis, who suppress Dalit and Shudra, who suppress women and LGBTQIA+. Any kind of oppression, any kind of injustice should be resisted. And this resistance should be linked with class struggle. And this resistance should be accompanied by adequate theoretical, ideological, cultural propaganda, educative propaganda. Lenin distinguished between educative propaganda and agitation. But both are necessary. Let there be agitation, organized agitation, and let there be educative propaganda to build up a counter hegemony. That is my position.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Sir, you continuously speak. Sir, if there is
Sorry, I can't hear.
no problem, sir.
Your talk getting disrupted. Can you please write here?
Am I audible to you?
Yeah, but it is getting disrupted.
Yes, sir. I think there is some network issues. Sir, now,
Okay.
sir,
Yes, I can hear you.
sir, you speaking for 2 hours now. If sir, if you have no problem, then we have some more questions.
Yes,
Okay,
please ask.
sir. From Facebook from Facebook Live, one has asked, how does he operate in specific context such as regional politics or social movements? Sir,
Yeah, yeah.
could I
Yeah.
repeat?
No. I can read it here.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Pradeep, you have to unmute yourself. Ah,
Yes. Because I unmuted to my daughter for one glass of water. Yes. Regarding this question, how does hegemony operate in specific contexts, such as regional politics or social movements? One must do some painstaking research, because it is a very specific discussion about specific contexts. I have not done so specific research in terms of regional politics or social movements. A little bit I know, that I can tell, that in regional politics, you see, certain regions are considered as uncivilized. The people of such regions are not given equal status to the mainstream Indians, unfortunately. I am very ashamed. I feel ashamed to utter these things. But it is true. I already said that regional humiliation, a person from Nagaland or Mizoram or Manipur or Sikkim or some parts of North Bengal will be treated by this hegemony as incomplete Indians, imperfect Indians, because they are tribal people, as if they have less claim, less right as the full-fledged citizens of India. I hope it is clear. Also, many other regional people I already mentioned how the people of Tamil Nadu are subjected to humiliation. Some people have a tendency that they think that North Indian people are the true Indian people. It is a kind of a racist thought in our hegemony. They are tall figure, sharp nose, big eyes, fair complexion, as if they are the true inheritors of the Aryan blood. This kind of racism was practiced by Hitler's Nazi Germany. Regionalism, regional politics Many regional politics are thought to be inferior as compared to the all India parties like Indian National Congress or Bharatiya Janata Party. Regional parties have less respect, inferior status. And in a federal system, a regional political leader, say a chief minister, should deserve great respect and proper attention. But the hegemony, what we have, operates in a very elitist fashion. Today we know there is a famous book, Small is Beautiful. But in Indian hegemony, we find that people think that big is beautiful. Small is inferior. Local is negligible. And thus, regional variety, the rich variety of entire Indian society and culture is ridiculed, not respected. On the contrary, a kind of strict, monolithic, homogeneous, uniform culture is sought to be built up at present with a uniform language imposed all over India at the cost of the regional languages. Regional politics is marked by inequality, imbalance, discrimination, and unfortunately, our hegemony makes us think that this kind of discrimination is morally right. And social movements, well, there are gender movements, there are anti-caste movements, anti-Adivasi oppression movements, anti-minority oppression movements, different kinds of social movements are already there. And our hegemony today does not teach us to stand by their side, to take stand opposed to injustice. Our hegemony, on the contrary, makes us think more and more that this kind of social movements are unjustified. These movements disturb the monolithic character of the Indian state. We want to become a strong power, a big power. And it is forgotten that the more federal, the more democratic a big state, a diverse state, a state full of variety, diversity, enjoys. The more it enjoys democracy, freedom, federalism, secularism, the more it becomes powerful, more it becomes strong, stronger it becomes. Strength of a nation does not lie in imposing a dictatorial, uniform politics, culture, and economy. Diversity is the source of strength. And now we say that it is unity of diversity. Earlier we used to say unity in diversity. in diversity, unity in diversity. But today we say unity of diversity. So diversities are there as it is, as they are. And this diversity is unified. So unity of diversity, of diversity. So all kinds of social movements have been subjected to this elitist hegemony and subjected to discrimination and suppression. And our civil society has not come forward in protest, except in a few rare cases. Well, that is my answer.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Any other question?
No, sir. We have no more questions. It's been 2.5 hours, sir. Continuously speaking.
Yeah.
Sir, hello, sir.
Uh,
Sir, it's been 2.5 hours.
yes, yes, I can see.
So this is sir. What to say? This is very much an honor to us that you
Thank you.
take your time or a very crucial time with us. So thank you once again, sir. Are you sir? Are you okay?
Yeah, yeah, I am perfectly fine. Actually, I feel honored that you have allowed me to speak here, and some very attentive people in the audience are there. Very good questions, very much valuable comment by Professor Satyajit Dasgupta. I feel very honored. Thank you
Yes,
very
sir.
much.
Yes, sir.
I hope this whole session will be given, has been recorded, and it will be, as you already told me, it will be uploaded on the YouTube, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, because lots of my students in presidency, they have asked me that they cannot make time right now because of their exam, and they want to listen to it in YouTube, on YouTube. Okay, so please send me the link of YouTube. Okay.
Thank you, Rajiv. It was an excellent program. And thank you, Pradip. তোমাকে আর কি বলবো?
Thank you.
Excellent, excellent.
Thank you
Brilliant.
so much.
আমরা পরে এটা নিয়ে আবার কথা বলবো আরো।
Thank you. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We need, sir, more sessions, and we will do it, sir, with you in future. Okay, Joyita.
আমাকে কাকে বললে এটা বুঝতে পারলাম না।
Yes, sir. We.
ওকে, আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
Yes, that
আপনাদেরকে
will be
বললাম।
that will be very good if you could invite Professor Dasgupta. He's a very good speaker. He's a very good researcher.
We are very old friends.
We will.
And we are also like brothers, right? He's like my younger brother.
We have the same PhD supervisor.
Yeah, yeah. রাজীব তো বাংলা জানে, বুঝতে পারবে। আমি বলি যে আমরা সতীর্থ।
সতীর্থ।
একই গুরুর শিষ্য হলে বলা হয় সতীর্থ।
গুরু ভাই।
গুরু ভাই, গুরু ভাই। ইনফ্যাক্ট রাইট। পার্থ চ্যাটার্জি আমারও পিএইচডি সুপারভাইজার ছিলেন, প্রদীপেরও সুপারভাইজার। কাজে আমরা উই আর গুরু ভাই।
We must thank the whole audience for
Yes.
their unbelievable patience.
That's right. That's right.
Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Rajiv. তাহলে আমি যাচ্ছি। হ্যাঁ, শেষ হয়ে গেছে তো?
স্যার স্যার
শেষ।
স্যার প্লিজ ওয়েট মিনিট,
ও আচ্ছা, ঠিক
ওয়েট
আছে।
ফর আ মিনিট স্যার।
আচ্ছা,
Okay,
ঠিক আছে, ওয়েট করছি।
জয়িতা,
Thank you, Dada.
ও ভোট অফ থ্যাঙ্কস দেবে, ঠিক আছে। হ্যাঁ,
Oh,
yes, please proceed.
hmm.
আচ্ছা।
As we come to the conclusion of today's session, respected sir and ma'am, dear academicians, participants, and friends, before we conclude, on behalf of our initiative, Mystic Force of Science and Society, I would like to express some gratitude to you all. First of all, on behalf of my team, I would like to express a deep gratitude to our keynote speaker, Honorable Dr. Pradip Basu sir. Uh, and valuable and insightful talks and this pivotal day webinar for this. And we are very much grateful to Dr. Satyajit Dasgupta sir for enriching us by his presence as our special guest. We are also grateful to Dr. Deepak Kumar Singh sir for always being with us and enrich us. And I deeply appreciate to our organizing committee, Mystic Force of Science and Society, for their efforts and hard work and their diligence. Thank you once again for your presence, participation, and contribution. We express our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for making this event a resounding success. Thank you. Good night, sir.
Thank you.
And thank you too. Thank you so much. Wonderful. Excellent.
Thank you, sir. That's a great honor for me.
That's our pleasure.
Our
It's
pleasure.
our pleasure. So thank you. Okay. ঠিক আছে প্রদীপ, তাহলে
হ্যাঁ,
গেলাম।
আচ্ছা, হ্যাঁ,
ঠিক আছে,
আচ্ছা,
আমার আবার একটা গানের প্রোগ্রাম আছে এরপরে।
আচ্ছা, আচ্ছা।
তো সেইটা একটু গান গাইতে চললাম। ঠিক আছে, ওকে, আচ্ছা।
আচ্ছা রাজীব,
Yes sir. হ্যাঁ স্যার বলুন।
মানে if anybody wants, you can without hesitation you can give them my WhatsApp number.
স্যার ওকে।
Shall I give my email address on the board?
Yes sir, you can sir.
Okay, I have given it. Your organization is very good and the people are really, I must appreciate. Actually, I wanted to be acquainted with each of these people. These Pratima, Monish Madi, Vidya Ranjan, আচ্ছা, সৌর
স্যার
দাশগুপ্ত,
বিদ্যারঞ্জন।
বিদ্যা রঞ্জন, আচ্ছা, সৈয়দ তন্নাজ, পুনম মেহরা।
হ্যালো বিদ্যা।
I will be happy if I get
Yes sir, yes.
responses from WhatsApp. I have sent you on the board.
Yes sir, yes sir. থ্যাংক ইউ স্যার, ভালো থাকবেন স্যার। আমরা স্যার পরে স্যার আরো এরকম সেশন করব স্যার।
নিশ্চয় নিশ্চয়, আমি খুব
আমারও
এনজয়
স্যার মানে
করেছি।
কিছু আমারও স্যার স্যার আমারও কিছু জিজ্ঞাসা ছিল, বাট ফর দি টাইম বিং স্যার, মানে আপনি অনেকক্ষণ
ওকে
ধরে বলছেন, প্রায় 2.5 ঘন্টা হয়ে গেল স্যার, তাই স্যার আমি স্যার করছি না।
ওকে ওকে, ঠিক আছে, আমি পরে আবার একটা লেকচার দেব। হ্যাঁ, আই
হ্যাঁ স্যার,
রিয়েলি
হ্যাঁ
এনজয়
ঠিক
ইট।
আছে স্যার।
এত ভালো অডিয়েন্স পেয়েছি, থ্যাংক ইউ। আমি একদিন পোস্ট মডার্নিজম নিয়ে বলতে পারি।
থ্যাংক ইউ অল। ঠিক আছে স্যার, হ্যাঁ
ওকে,
ঠিক আছে স্যার। স্যার Okay, thank you those who have till now present over here. We are really very much thankful to you. It's been 2 hours and you people are with us. So it is a great honor for us. And I hope that you all filled out the feedback form. Any response? If you want to suggestions or whatever, you can unmute yourself. Okay, thank you all.